I'm Peter Sidwell, welcome to Simply Good Food TV's Test Kitchen. It is nearly St. Patrick's Day and we are feeling a little bit sort of honorary Irish. I have a little bit of Irish blood in me, so I feel like we can cook some great recipes today. And the first one that I'm going to work on is a really beautiful Irish stew using beef. Now, I have got the most incredible cut of beef here, in my opinion. I love it. It's called short rib, but when it's actually all together, it's called Jacob's ladder. Okay, so this is a big, thick one. You might normally get them sort of cut two ways, long ways. So you've got portions. We've got at least 6 portions here. It's 2.5 kilo piece, this, on the bone. So get down to your butcher and ask for it, and I'll show you how we're going to cook it. So get my pan nice and hot. And the first thing we're going to do is cut this into portions, okay? So you've got layers of fat, all right, and muscle, and it sits on the bone, so you get tons and tons of flavour. So first we'll cut straight down the middle on one bone. For today, I'm just going to cook 2 pieces of this because it's big, and I think this will serve 4, okay? And then we're just going to score a little bit so that the fat renders nicely, okay? And the minute this gets into the pan, it'll start to open up and all the fats will start to render. So there's one, and then we'll get the other done as well. So nice gentle scores. Don't try and cut right in. We just want to expose that first layer of fat so we can get some flavour in there. Okay, so let's pop those to one side. Now I've got some rosemary and some thyme, good winter herbs. This is all that should really be growing in your garden at the moment if you're in the UK. So a little bit of thyme and then some rosemary. There we go. And then I've got some garlic here. So 1 bulb of garlic. We'll use the rest in the stew actually. So there we go. Just crack it and put it with our herbs, and then I'm just going to chop everything, okay? I can feel this pan getting nice and hot, which is perfect for what we're going to do. We're going to get everything going in this pan, and then we're going to transfer it into this lovely big pan. Right, lovely. Okay, so let's get our beef and then just sprinkle all this on. Okay, I'm gonna get some olive oil and I'm gonna drizzle that on. Don't worry about making a mess at this stage. Get some sea salt, sprinkle that on. Lovely. And then I've got some cracked pepper as well. Beef loves pepper, so don't be shy with it. This is our base layer of flavour. Right, and then let's just work everything in. Just get all those flavours and just push them into the beef, okay? Especially those cuts. And just really work it in, okay? And that means we're going to get maximum flavour. Look at that. Looks like it should be sat on the beach in Benidorm. It's all shiny and lovely. Right, so pan, smoking hot. So those score sides, yeah, they're going to go into the pan. And this is where we get tons of big flavour. And I'm just going to wash my hands. Right, smelling amazing already. So look, can you see how it's just sort of caramelising? It's just starting to take that colour on. Don't be afraid to get these little bits of colour. You might think that's a little bit too scorched, but actually that's going to help with the colour of the stew eventually. So keep cooking. Well, that one's looking good already. Right, the beef's just cooking away. What we're going to do is turn it over and get all sides really lovely golden and caramelly and crisp. So while we're doing that, let's get the vegetables going. So I've got a big cast aluminium pan. Looks like a big heavy cast iron, but it's not, it's aluminium, so it's super light, look. But it performs like a cast iron does. So what I've got here is I've got some lovely shallots, okay? So these are just going to go in. And we'll get loads and loads of colour and flavour from the beef in there, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up some celery to really help with the savoury flavour. And then cut them long ways in half. And then 2 piles there, and then we'll just chop those into small pieces. Right, and let's get those into the pan. Right, let's turn this beef over. Oh, look at that. Can you see how it's all caramelizing and going delicious? Smells amazing. I'm getting so hungry now. Unfortunately, needs a few hours in the oven. So I've got carrots here, these are peeled, and these are gonna add sweetness to the stew, okay? So we're just gonna take the tops off, and we'll put those to one side. Now, you've got to think these carrots are gonna sit with this beef, okay? This great big chunk of beef, okay, is gonna cook for hours. If you chop these carrots into tiny little slices, they're gonna disappear. What we wanna do is cut them into chunks, okay? So that then they just sit and they become sweet and delicious, and then when they finally come out of the stew with everything else, it just tastes amazing. So cut them into sort of inch-long pieces. That's the minimum size you could do. And then they can go into the pan. The same with these ones. Pop those in. I've got some bay leaves as well. Going to give real nice aroma. Then I've got my garlic, the remaining garlic. I'm just going to do the whole bulb, and I'm going to cut it maybe just 3/4 in from the top. So now I've got this kind of big bulb of garlic. I'm going to put that in whole. Okay, so that's going to go in there. So we're building loads of really nice layers of flavour. Just have a look at this beef. Oh, right. This is Cumbrian black pudding, blood sausage some people call it. So it's cooked in a tray, which is why it's square. This is not sort of particularly authentic. I just really like the way that it gives a depth of flavour, and it kind of naturally thickens the stew to make it really delicious. Bags of iron in this as well now. So let's just chop it into squares, sort of centimetre cubes, and that'll allow it enough time to just dissolve. And it'll be it won't be there when you're finished, but it will have melted into the stew and given it a real richness. Right, let's get this beef out. So, you can see, if I put this beef on the chopping board there, it just looks delish. So, let's get this on the heat. So we've got, I'll recap, so we've got our shallots, carrots, celery, garlic, black pudding, bay leaf, and then we've got our lovely beef that we've just caramelised and got loads of colour and flavour. That can just sit there, okay, on a bed of those vegetables. Look, if I show you, look, how it's sat, and it's just, all the vegetables are going to cook, and it's going to steam up through the beef and make it absolutely delicious. So, I've got rosemary. I like rosemary. I'm just going to pull it straight off the stalks and pop it straight in, okay? But if you want to chop it, it's fine. Now, I've started using some kombu seaweed as a bit of seasoning, really, and it gives a real umami depth of flavour. So I'm going to add some of that in. It's really good for you. It's packed full of iron. So I've got about a teaspoon of seaweed in there. And then, we all know it, we all love it, our lovely Guinness. It wouldn't be a good Irish stew without some Guinness in there. So, I'm going to go the whole can. Here we go. And then I've got some beautiful beef stock here. And I've got a company that I work with, it's called True Foods, based in Ripon in North Yorkshire. They make some beautiful stock. But a good fresh beef stock is delicious. So we'll pour that in. There we go. Right, beef is up to the boil now, and it's just going to cook beautifully on there. But if you don't put a lid on it, everything will evaporate. So, lid on. and then into the oven, 160 degrees, preheated, and that is going to cook for at least 3 hours. If you can give it 4, give it 4.